All right. We'll go ahead and begin. Welcome to our Thursday morning gathering brought to you by Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare and Tufts Health Plan. My name is Tara Healey, and I am the program director for Mind the Moment, the mindfulness program of Point 32 Health, which is the umbrella company in which Harvard Pilgrim and Tufts fall under. And it is really such a pleasure to be here with you on Wednesday mornings and Thursday mornings. We also have a Tuesday morning session that one of our instructors leads, and that Tuesday instructor, the instructors rotate. So, we start every session with kind of a check-in question, which you can answer or not, or just, something to contemplate. But for those of you that might be new and just joining for the first time, a warm welcome to you. These sessions run a half hour. The actual meditation is usually 12 to 14 minutes. It's fully guided, and there are periods of silence within that 12 to 14 minutes. And then we save time at the end for Q&A and sharing any, books or apps or podcasts that you have come across related to the topic of mindfulness and meditation. So it's an opportunity for us as a community to just share any resources or best practices that you've come across. And so my question this morning, it's actually related to motivation for practice. And, as I think about my own practice, and I started many years ago, but there are sort of kind of peaks and valleys with the practice. So sometimes where it feels like practice is going well. I'm in a good sort of flow of practice and consistency with practice. And then there are other times where it feels more stagnant. And it's one of these things that is simple, right? So we are stilling ourselves and finding a way to anchor the wandering mind, to bring some stability and concentration to the mind, and ultimately familiarizing ourselves with our minds. I mean, that's one of the nuggets of this practice is we are familiarizing ourselves with our habit patterns, with our tendencies, with what we push away in life, what we lean into or want more of. And so we're not only are we familiarizing ourselves with our own mind and habit patterns, but familiarizing ourselves with the nature of mind in general. So even though the habit patterns of mind are different for each of us, kind of how the mind operates is the same. So, and that I think, for me has really helped increase my sense of compassion, not only for myself, but just for all beings. And so this topic of motivation has been on my mind lately. And so my question is, what motivated you to show up this morning? What motivates you to have a consistent practice, or even the intention or desire to have a consistent meditation practice? Part of what keeps us connected to the consistency and doing this practice is tied often very deeply to our motivation. So it's a good thing just to check in every once in a while with, why did I come this morning? What keeps me motivated? Why do I want to do this practice? So any of those, you can answer. Connection with like-hearted people. Yeah, and especially in a world that feels so polarized, Susan, connecting in with each other feels really significant. A lot going on, and it's a constant place of calm. Yeah, Loretta, thank you. It's, we're pretty much, there are many of you that have been with us from the beginning, and this is a pretty consistent place to show up with a shared community that all cares about deepening their understanding of themselves, their mind, their habit patterns. And then that brings, we bring more into every relationship we have, everything we do. Community, taking care of myself. Yes, self-care. I know when I come, I feel serenity the rest of the day. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how many of you were able to join the webinar with Dr. Amishi Jha. And then we had Kel Juilliard and Jessica Mori as panelists. And one of the early questions was, what got you into this practice? And one of the things Kel said was, he had heard about it many, many years ago. And so he decided that he was going to do an experiment. And for 3 months, he was going to devote himself to practice and just do it consistently. And if there was no benefit or it didn't, he was just going to let it go. But he started to see that his days, on the days he practiced, those days seemed to just go better. So a lot of practice is looking at how we relate to everything that happens in our lives. So how are we relating to and engaging with strong emotions? How are we relating to and engaging with when things happen that we wish didn't, or we want things we can't have? How are we relating to every moment? And that's such a significant part of this practice. Are we resisting when we see clearly the way things are? Are we resisting what's happening? Are we able to open, especially to things that are unpleasant? Today I'm here to get better in touch with my anger. So perfect segue, Teresa, to begin practice, because we want to use this practice to see how we are relating. And when anger is present or when frustration is present, can we be with it, come out of the narrative and feel the physicality in the body and know what's there? And in a sense, although it sounds counterintuitively, the word welcome is coming to me. Allow might even be better, just the allowance. So we're not rejecting anything that arises. In fact, it's all included. So with that, let me just see what else just came in. There are lots of things. Yes. Yeah. And Jamie, also to there's the capacity to see when worry is present and it's arising. And then we also can start to see when these difficult mind states or emotions are not present. Thich Nhat Hanh often would say that he'd call it the non-toothache, noticing. So we're able to notice when things that are difficult are not present. So let's go ahead and begin. And you want to hold yourself in a way that is upright, but not uptight, so that the body softens around the spine, that is upright. I often will not lean back on the chair, but lean slightly forward. And know that you can do this standing or sitting or lying down. Any of those practices or those postures are fine. And take a moment, eyes open or closed. I'm going to close mine this morning, but it's fine to keep them open and gaze downward a bit. So settle into your posture. Just see kind of how things are this morning. Just even drop that question in. How am I this morning? What physical sensations am I aware of? What sounds am I hearing in the room or outside of the room? And we don't even have to label what's making the sound, but just tapping into hearing that sense door of hearing. Knowing that you are here and sitting or standing or lying down, aware of how the body is in this moment, perhaps aware of the points of contact with the back of the body or the soles of the feet. And perhaps noting a pulsing or vibration, temperature, with an allowance. And so just, simply allowing these sensations and emotions may feel pleasant, unpleasant, or neither one of those, just kind of neutral. More often, there's some degree of pleasantness or unpleasantness, either low, medium, or high. Just see how things are. And I'm gonna scan us through the body, and as we move through different regions of the body, see if you can really feel from the inside out. So let's start at the very top of the head, moving down along the sides and the back, and coming around to the face and neck. Softening the muscles of the face to the degree that you can, if that feels helpful. And let's bring attention now to the shoulders, upper arms, forearms, and hands. See if you can feel inside what's going on there. Are the arms and hands touching another part of the body, perhaps aware of that point of contact? Moving from feeling the inside to feel the clothes against the skin. Let's move to the torso. And again, let's move inside the body, the core of the body, receiving the breath, receiving the rise and fall of the abdomen, belly, chest. Resting awareness on the body's capacity to breathe without you actually doing anything. It's just automatic. Receiving this healing, life-giving force of breath. And let's move down now around the hips and thighs. And feeling from the inside out. Perhaps noticing the points of contact. If you're standing, you may notice a muscle contraction, subtle or subtle micro movements to keep you upright, just as if you're sitting with an upright spine, making micro movements to remain engaged and upright. And let's again now do thighs, knees, lower legs, and feet. So just sweeping awareness through the lower part of the body, knowing what's happening, receiving and allowing the various sensations. And releasing that. And just for a moment, coming back to whole body awareness. See if there are any areas that are calling for your attention. And let your awareness go to that particular area that might be calling attention, or stay with whole body and just simply receive the breath entering and leaving the body. or other sensation, itch, cramp, anything. And for this last part of the meditation, let's look for an anchor for the wandering mind. Something that we can return to over and over again. Not trying to stop the wandering mind. That's going to happen. It's happening for me. And so you have lots of options. So as you breathe in and out, is there one part of the body where the inhalation and exhalation are most noticeable, or you feel them most prominently? So you could return your attention. So as you track the in-breath and the out-breath at a more narrow focus, or even just the structure of the whole body moving, just know that this is something you'll come back to. That thoughts are going to slip in. You're going to notice. That's a really good moment. The noticing means you're no longer lost. You're aware. You're awake. And you'll return to breath sensation or another body sensation, such as the hands resting on the thighs and that feeling of the point of contact. You could also use sound. So you could just open up awareness and receive the arising and passing of sound. So take a moment to see what anchor is going to work best for you this morning. And staying with that anchor for the remainder of our practice. So I'll just drop in noticing where the mind is, and releasing the narrative, the memory or planning, soft mental note thinking. Let the body soften and just simply redirect your attention just over and over and over again. Noticing where the mind is now. Soft mental note, thinking, let your body soften, and simply return to your anchor. And as we bring this meditation to a close, may we be peaceful and at ease. May our hearts be soft and open. May we be safe and protected, and our bodies healthy and strong. And may whatever good comes of our practice be for the benefit of all beings. And as you are ready, if your eyes were closed, go ahead and take a moment to open the eyes and just simply reorient to the space you're in. Just take a look around, maybe do a little bit of a stretch. um, so I have a really busy mind this morning, and um, you can count on every time I say noticing where the mind is, that my mind is wandering. But again, that moment of waking up is a really significant moment. It's something to actually pat yourself on the back for, because you're no longer hijacked by a memory or planning or any thought. Um, and I think one of the things that I want to just emphasize is that whatever thought, emotion, or body sensation is arising, either when we're practicing or just moving throughout our day, you can even just drop the question, how am I relating to this? And to really know that in this practice, we are learning to cultivate this quality of allowance. And, so with difficult emotions like, anger or frustration or fear, anxiety, um, that there's a natural tendency to want to resist feeling them, to want to just turn away or push away. And yet, that real nuggets in this practice are when we can see clearly what has arisen in us and come out of the stories in the head and just in our heads and just feel what the physical expression is of this thing. So this is how we allow and turn toward, and it's a really important part of the practice. And I think sometimes when we come to practice, we have certain expectations about what it might feel like. And unfortunately, all the images we see are people sitting cross-legged with their hands usually in some kind of position like this. And that, oh, you're supposed to feel like that person looks. But in fact, that is really a misconception. And really what we're doing is we're seeing if we can be with whatever arises or is going to arise within us. And part of the beauty of this is that the emotions that are easy to be with? Well, that's pretty easy. You know, it's not as hard. There can be a subtle not wanting it to go away, which is a little bit of holding, and there can be a little bit of pain in that. But as we start to even see that, like, oh, this is so good, I don't want it to change, we know that everything is of a nature to change. It's part of what we see just in our daily practice with an itch or a cramp, even. It'll arise, it'll do its thing, and it'll move. Whether you scratch it or need the cramp out, it's going to do its thing. And that's true with all of our emotions as well. Yeah. The rain practice, Janice, is very good and is really very much speaking to what I feel like is a really important concept in practice: the recognition of what has arises, the allowance of it, the feeling into it, and the watching of it going away or even increasing. But you get to sort of watch. Um, exactly the image that was good, David. I am so glad. I have been on since I first started teaching back in 2005. One of my missions has been to bust misconceptions about meditation. And the other thing is, I just want to say, saying the word meditation is like saying the word sports. There are hundreds, and actually, Kel Juilliard said there's probably thousands of different kinds. What we're doing here on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday mornings is called mindfulness meditation, also known as insight meditation. I like insight. It's this, we're seeing clearly how things are. We're familiarizing ourselves with the nature of our minds and of everybody's mind. And then, you know, we're bringing this practice out into the world. So as we develop concentration and, you know, just by nature of not letting, you know, we're bringing our attention back over and over. We're not trying to stop thought. We're just seeing in practice when we've moved into a memory, oh, just thinking, we're bringing it back. Each time we do that, we strengthen the muscle of focus and concentration. And then we're able to employ that focus and concentration, that capacity to see clearly into the service of our day-to-day life that impacts everybody. So that as we drive, we're more mindful and aware of how we're driving. Um, Many readings that I do speak about mindfulness as an anti-stress tool. It's true. And it's wider than that. You know, there's quite a lot to the practice. So I realize now it's 9:01. Does anybody have any questions, thoughts, observations, anything at all that you want to share? We're heading into a holiday weekend. So I just wishing you all well and a safe and happy weekend. Um, Thank you, Loretta. Thank you. Great to be with everybody this morning. And so next practice is Tuesday morning. And I think it's either Christine O'Shaughnessy or Jackie Johnson. Just for the record, I will actually be up at the Omega Institute for a week of practice. And I won't be on next week, but Christine O'Shaughnessy and Jackie Johnson will be leading practices for me on Wednesday and Thursday. I'm not sure who is teaching Tuesday, but all right, everybody. See you later. Thanks, everybody.